Watch this curve. It twists and turns in ways that seem impossible to describe with simple straight lines. But what if we try? One straight line segment, a terrible approximation. Two segments, slightly better. Five segments, now we can see the shape emerging. 10 segments, remarkably close. 20, nearly perfect. In 1989, a mathematical proof changed computer science forever. It showed that a single layer of neurons, each computing nothing more than a simple bent line, can approximate any continuous function to any desired accuracy, given enough neurons. This is the Universal Approximation Theorem, and understanding it will show you why neural networks can learn almost anything. Every neural network is built from a single, remarkably simple component. Here are three activation functions that have shaped AI history. The step function, a hard switch between 0 and 1. Simple, but its derivative is 0 everywhere except at a single point, making gradient-based learning impossible. The sigmoid, a smooth squash between 0 and 1. Differentiable everywhere, which made backpropagation possible, but its gradient maxes out at just 0.25. And then ReLU, the rectified linear unit. It could not be simpler. Below 0, the output is 0. Above 0, the output equals the input. A hinge, a ramp. ReLU of -2 is 0. ReLU of 0 is 0. ReLU of 1 is 1. ReLU of 3 is 3. Now here's where it gets powerful. A single neuron computes W times ReLU of x plus C plus B. By changing C, we shift the hinge left or right. By changing W, we control the slope. And by changing B, we raise or lower the whole line. One neuron, 3 degrees of freedom. And why did ReLU replace the sigmoid? Look at the derivatives. The sigmoid's gradient peaks at 0.25 and vanishes near 0 and 1. The infamous vanishing gradient problem from episode 4. ReLU's derivative is either 0 or 1. No vanishing, no saturation. Gradients flow cleanly through the network. This is the building block. And this simple bent line is the key to universal approximation. Now let's build something from these simple pieces, like assembling Lego bricks. Take one ReLU shifted to x equals 1. It ramps upward from that point. Now subtract another ReLU shifted to x equals 3. Something interesting happens. The two slopes cancel out, creating a ramp that rises and then stays flat. It climbs from 0 to 2, then hits a plateau. But we need something that goes back to 0. A bump, a spike, a tent. The trick is to add a third ReLU in the middle, with a weight of -2, plus 1, minus 2, plus 1. Watch what happens when we add all three. A perfect triangle. It rises to a peak of exactly 1 at x equals 2, then falls symmetrically back to 0. 0 at 1, peak at 2, 0 at 3. 3 neurons, 3 simple bent lines, 1 elegant bump. This hat function is the core building block of universal approximation. Line up enough of these triangles, and you can trace any curve. Now let's see the hat functions in action. Our target, the sine function on 0 to 2pi, smooth, continuous, and curvy. Everything a straight line is not. With just one neuron, we get 2 line segments. The error is enormous, over 1.2. 2 neurons, 3 segments, better but still rough. Error drops to 0.55. 5 neurons, 6 segments. Now the shape of the sine wave is clearly emerging. Error 0.14. 10 neurons. The approximation hugs the curve closely. Maximum error just 0.04. 20 neurons, nearly indistinguishable from the original. Error 0.01. And this improvement follows a precise mathematical law. The maximum error is bounded by pi squared over 2 times n plus 1 squared. Watch how fast the error falls. This is O of 1 over n squared convergence. Double the neurons. The error drops to roughly 1/4. This is the power of piecewise linear approximation and the mathematical foundation of universal approximation. Now let's state the theorem precisely. For any continuous function f on a compact set in Rn and any epsilon greater than 0, there exists a one hidden layer neural network G such that the maximum difference between G and f is less than epsilon. This result emerged from 3 landmark papers. In 1989, George Cybenko proved it for sigmoidal activation functions, smooth functions that squash inputs between 0 and 1. His proof used the Hornik theorem, powerful but non-constructive. That same year, Hornik, Stinchcombe, and White independently proved the result for a broader class and coined the term universal approximators. Then in 1993, Leshno and colleagues found the complete characterization. An activation function is universal if and only if it is not a polynomial. And here is something crucial. Cybenko's original theorem does not directly apply to ReLU. His proof requires the activation function to be bounded, approaching 0 on one end and 1 on the other. ReLU grows without bound, violating this requirement. It was Leshno's 1993 result that brought ReLU into the fold. ReLU is piecewise linear, not a polynomial, so it qualifies as a universal approximator. And there's a beautiful distinction in how these theorems work. Cybenko's proof is non-constructive. It tells you a solution exists, but gives no recipe to find it. The ReLU proof, on the other hand, is fully constructive. You can compute the exact breakpoints and slopes that approximate any function. That's exactly what we just did with sine. Now, for the most important part of this episode, the Universal Approximation Theorem is powerful, but it's also widely misunderstood. There are 3 things it does not guarantee. First, it does not guarantee that gradient descent can actually find the right weights. The theorem says a solution exists, but Bloom and Rivest proved in 1993 that finding the optimal weights for even a 3-node network is NP complete. Your optimizer might get stuck and never reach the solution the theorem promises. Second, it says nothing about generalization. Zhang and colleagues showed in 2017 that deep networks can perfectly memorize completely random labels, achieving 0 training error while learning absolutely nothing meaningful. The theorem is about approximating a known function, not learning from limited data. Third, the number of neurons required can be astronomically large. In high dimensions, the network size grows exponentially, the curse of dimensionality. A function on a 100-dimensional input might need more neurons than atoms in the universe. The Universal Approximation Theorem is about what neural networks can represent, their capacity. It's not about what they can learn. So the theorem says width is enough. One layer can do it all. Then why does modern AI use dozens or hundreds of layers? Let's compare. A shallow network with 12 neurons in a single hidden layer, and a deep network, same 12 neurons but split across 3 layers of 4. In one dimension, a shallow network with 12 neurons can create at most 13 linear regions, 13 straight-line segments. The deep network? 4 to the power of 3, 64 regions, 5 times more expressiveness with the exact same number of neurons. The reason becomes vivid with the triangle wave. 1 composition, 1 peak. Compose it with itself, 2 peaks. Again, 4 peaks. Again, 8 peaks. Each additional layer doubles the complexity. A deep network represents this with just O of k layers and constant width. A shallow network would need 2 to the k neurons, exponentially more. This is why deep learning is deep. Depth doesn't just add, it multiplies. And that exponential advantage is what makes modern neural networks so powerful. Let's step back and see what we've built. First, ReLU, the simplest possible nonlinear function, a bent line, a hinge. Second, the Universal Approximation Theorem. Given enough of these bent lines, you can approximate any continuous function to any desired accuracy. Third, depth beats width. Splitting neurons across multiple layers multiplies expressiveness exponentially. And with this, our mathematical toolkit grows. In episode 1, we learned how AI represents the world, with vectors and matrices. In episode 2, how AI improves, gradient descent. In episode 3, how AI handles uncertainty, Bayes' theorem. In episode 4, how AI learns from mistakes, backpropagation. In episode 5, how AI makes decisions, softmax and cross-entropy. And today, why neural networks can learn almost anything, the Universal Approximation Theorem. Next time, we explore the hidden terrain where AI trains, lost landscapes and regularization. See you there.